Welcome to Folk Songs and Stories. Join Marc Gunn as he shares the stories behind indie, Celtic, and folk music, plus simple tips for sustainable living. Listen and celebrate the heart of folk music.
2025 is the 20-year anniversary of the release of Irish drinking songs for cat lovers. We are resharing the Cat Lovers podcast along with stories about the song that launched the album, Wild Kitty. You'll also enjoy the music of Jesse Ferguson in this week's show. This is Folk Songs and Stories, number 299.
I've been a wild rover for many's the year, and I spent all me money on whiskey and beer. And now I've returned with gold in great store, and I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never no more will I play the wild rover, no, nay, never no more. Well, I went to an alehouse I used to frequent, and I told the landlady my money was spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Such a custom like yours I can have any day. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never no more will I play the wild rover, no, nay, never no more. Well, I pulled from me pocket 10 sovereigns bright, and the landlady's eyes opened wide with delight. She said, I have whiskey and wine of the best, and these words that I spoke, they were only in jest. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never no more will I play the wild rover, no, nay, never no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never no more will I play the wild rover, no, nay, never no more. Well, I'll go to me parents and confess what I have done, and I'll ask them to pardon their prodigal son. And if they caress me as oft time before, then I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never no more will I play the wild rover, no, nay, never no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never no more will I play the wild rover, no, nay, never no more.
Welcome to Folk Songs and Stories. I am Marc Gunn. I'm a Celtic musician and also host of the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast. I'm also a cat lover, as you'll hear later in the show. And this show is for fans of my music, but it's also for people who attend Renaissance festivals, Celtic festivals, science fiction conventions. So if you're new to the show, please subscribe. You can do that at pubsong.com or just send me an email at follow@celtfather.net. And here's a weird request. I would like you to think of the first song that comes to your mind. Next, take a picture, but not one, but three. 3 pictures to tell a story. Perhaps you have a story to tell as well. Take some pictures and send them to me. Again, follow@celtfather.net. I know that's weird, but you know. Hey, we kicked off the show with Wild Rover. That's from my album, Irish Drinking Songs, The Cat Lover's Companion. And today I'm talking about this album that I released back in 2005, Irish Drinking Songs for Cat Lovers. You can, first off, I want to remind you to vote for your favorite song on the album. There's links to the album on Patreon and Bandcamp. Just follow the links in the show notes. We're going to get back to that in just a moment, but in the meantime, I have some upcoming shows that I want to share with you that are happening later, just later. July 19th is Fiddler's Green Coffee House Concert Series. July 31st through August 3rd, I'll be at Gen Con in Indianapolis. August 28th through September 1st, Dragon Con with the Brobdingnagian Bards. September 24th through 28th, I'll be at ALEP 6. That's the Hobbit Gathering in Kentucky. October 17th through 19th, I'll be at Multiverse. November 8th, I'll be at Irish Fest Atlanta with my daughter Inara. And December 7th, Nerdy Wonderland at the Lost Druid. So stay tuned for all that. Let's get some music from Jesse Ferguson. This is Bonnie Dundee from his album 10.
To the Lords of Convention, 'twas clavers who spoke. Ere the king's crown shall fall, there are crowns to be broke. So then each cavalier who loves honor and me, let him follow the bonnets of Bonnie Dundee. Come fill up my cup, come fill up my can, come saddle your horses and call out your men. Come out to the Westport and let us go free, and it's up with the bonnets of Bonnie Dundee. Dundee he's mounted, he rides up the street. The bells are rung backwards, the drums they are beat. But the provost Douceman said just let him be. The good town is well quit of that devil Dundee. Come fill up my cup, come fill up my can, come saddle your horses and call out your men. Come out to the Westport and let us go free, and it's up with the bonnets of Bonnie Dundee. There are hills beyond Pentland and miles beyond Forth. Be there lords in the lowlands, they've chiefs in the north. There are wild Dooney wassels, 3,000 times 3 will cry hoy for the bonnets of Bonnie Dundee. Come fill up my cup, come fill up my can, come saddle your horses and call out your men. Come out to the Westport and let us go free, and it's up with the bonnets of Bonnie Dundee. To the caves and the rocks, there I'll own the usurper, I'll crouch with the fox. So then tremble, false wigs, in the midst of your glee. Ye have not seen the last of my bonnet and me. Come fill up my cup, come fill up my can, come saddle your horses and call out your men. Come out to the Westport and let us go free, and it's up with the bonnets of Bonnie Dundee. Come fill up my cup, come fill up my can, come saddle your horses and call out your men. Come out to the Westport and let us go free, and it's up with the bonnets of Bonnie Dundee.
I am changing things up. I have a whole bunch of fun ideas that I'm going to do with this show in the days to come after the summer. Right now, I figured I'm going to share some of these cat episodes because they're fun, and then we're going to go on to interesting project that I'm brainstorming. If you're over on Patreon, you probably already know about it. But speaking of which, support the club. The show is supported by my patrons over on Patreon. So if you enjoy the podcast or my music, join the club. You will definitely want to be a part of it, because you're going to get something pretty much every week. There's blogs, live video shows, there's sheet music, free downloadable songs, exclusive podcasts, bonus content for the podcast, because that's one of the things I'm doing. Send an email to follow@keltfather.net for details. And if you want to join me on a Celtic invasion of Galicia in Spain next year, the poll, it should be open, so you can now join that invasion. All right, Irish drinking songs for cat lovers. In 2003, I got back from Dragon Con, and I was chatting with a friend on the phone, and the Irish song Wild Rover that you heard at the top of the show was stuck in my head as we started talking about cats. the chorus came around and I started meowing, and an idea started growing in my head. What if I parodied a bunch of traditional Irish drinking songs with lyrics all about cats? So I wrote my first 3 songs before the end of October. I then found Ari Koinoma in Austin to help me produce the single, and I set up a website, catdrinkingsongs.com. In December, someone posted the idea of this album to FARC, and I had 20,000 website hits in one day and hundreds of comments. So I knew this was going to be a memorable album, a memorable idea. And so in May of 2005, I launched a podcast to help raise money for a CD of Irish drinking songs for cat lovers. And thus was born the Cat Lovers podcast. So what I'm doing is I'm sharing the episode in its entirety, and I hope you enjoy this. And here goes. Good afternoon, cat lovers. This is Marc Gunn, your host of the Cat Lovers podcast, and the very first Cat Lovers podcast, to be sure. And let's see, we got some good stuff coming up today. I got a couple of news stories. I'm going to try to, work out a format that actually works and that I don't spend my time babbling about things that just don't make sense. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some news stories that I've found online that I thought were kind of interesting. Then we're going to go into a wee bit of cat humor. Then I've got a story, and I'm going to finish up with a cat song. So it should be pretty short, but it'll work out. It'll work itself out in time. I do want to make this a interactive podcast. So if you have any stories, feel free to go to www.catdrinkingsongs.com and click on cat calls, and I will add those stories or news bits or whatever you find to the website or to the podcast, the future podcasts. All right, let's get started. Cat news. Cats get their own oxygen. Actually, it says dog cats get their own oxygen. This is an Associated Press story that I saw from Fairfield, Connecticut. Man's best friend has new friend in Fairfield, Connecticut. The fire department. Firefighters have 15 new oxygen masks for dogs and cats that can be used to treat animals overcome by smoke inhalation in a fire. The Best Friends Pet Resort chain donated the mask. The company has given about 450 sets of masks so far to fire departments in 11 states. Those must be the cutest thing in the world. A little kitty with a little mask. Little Darth Vaders. Okay. Digital aid for big cats. From New Delhi. Experts will adopt new methods for verifying India's tiger population as part of a nationwide census beginning later this year. Field evidences about the presence of tigers, pug marks, fecal matter, food traces will be collected in a 30 square kilometer areas of forests called beats, experts say. They were speaking on the sidelines of the first meeting of a task force that will review reports of declining tiger population. To verify tiger density, the information gathered from several beats will be analyzed using the camera trap and refined pug mark methods. The pug marks will be digitally recorded and analyzed using a global information system, GIS-based software. These pug marks will be used to identify tigers and their sex. The two methods, experts say, will reduce human intervention during tiger census and eliminate errors. Well, that's all I have for news. Yeah, okay, I need to work on my news gathering ability, but this is still the first podcast, so we'll start there. Someone sent me a nice cat comical thing that I thought I'd share. It's Cats in Physics. And while you can probably find this all over the net, I think I've gotten it a couple times, I figured it was the perfect thing to share in a podcast. Cats in Physics. Law of cat inertia. A cat at rest will tend to remain at rest unless acted upon by some outside force, such as the opening of cat food or a nearby scurrying mouse. Law of cat motion. A cat will move in a straight line unless there is a really good reason to change direction. Law of cat magnetis. All blue blazers and black sweaters attract cat hair in direct proportion to the darkness of the fabric. Law of cat thermodynamics. Heat flows from a warmer to a cooler body, except in the case of a cat, in which case all heat flows to the cat. Law of cat stretching. A cat will stretch to a distance proportional to the length of the nap just taken. Law of cat sleeping. All cats must sleep with people whenever possible in a position as uncomfortable for the people involved as is possible for the cat. Law of cat elongation. A cat can make her body long enough to reach just about any computer top that has anything remotely interesting on it. Law of cat acceleration. A cat will accelerate at a constant rate until he gets good and ready to stop. Law of dinner table attendance. Cats must attend all meals when anything good is served. Law of rug configuration. No rug may remain in its naturally flat state for very long. Law of obedience resistance. A cat's resistance varies in proportion to a cat's desire for her to do something. First law of energy conservation. Cats know that energy can neither be created nor destroyed and will therefore use as little energy as possible. Second law of energy conservation. Cats also know that energy can only be stored by a lot of napping. Law of refrigerator observation. If a cat watches a refrigerator long enough, someone will come along and take out something good to eat. Law of electric blanket attraction. Turn on an electric blanket and a cat will jump into a bed at the speed of light. Law of random comfort seeking. A cat will always seek and usually take over the most comfortable spot in any given room. Law of bag/box occupancy. All bags and boxes in a given room must contain a cat within the earliest possible nanosecond. Law of cat embarrassment. A cat's irritation rises in direct proportion to her embarrassment times the amount of human laughter. Law of milk consumption. A cat will drink his weight in milk squared just to show you he can. Law of furniture replacement. A cat's desire to scratch furniture is directly proportional to the cost of the furniture. Ain't that the truth? Law of cat landing. A cat will always land in the softest place possible. Law of fluid displacement. A cat immersed in milk will displace her own volume minus the amount of milk consumed. Law of cat disinterest. A cat's interest level will vary in inverse proportion to the amount of effort a human expends in trying to interest him. Law of pill rejection. Any pill given to a cat has the potential energy to reach escape velocity. Law of cat composition. A cat is composed of matter plus antimatter plus it doesn't matter. All right. Well, thank you, Amanda Pints, who sent that in. Next up, we have a story by Joellen Robinson from Ohio. And this is the story. My parents and I live in a semi-rural area with lots of wildlife and trees. One day last spring, my father, who lives across the street, called me on the phone. "Hurry and come over," he said, "and bring a camera." Of course, I was very curious and headed across the road. Walking into the driveway, I saw my dad standing at the top of the hill, looking down into his backyard. I walked over and asked him what was going on. He whispered, "This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Down there, look." I peered across the creek. There he was pointing, and I saw a doe and two fawns grazing. The doe periodically looked around, keeping her young in full sight, then resumed eating the newly grown grass. "Well, okay, there are deer. Is that what you wanted me to see?" I was rather puzzled because deer are not an uncommon sight around here, even in broad daylight. "No, over there, by the old log." Dad said, grinning. I looked over to the side of the backyard and to my astonishment saw one of my black and white cats, Tuxedo, using a fallen tree trunk to hide herself as she attempted to sneak up on a fawn. Creep, creep, creep. She was in full stealth mode, all hunched down, crawling slowly toward the unsuspecting baby deer. She paused, then resumed creeping. My father started to laugh out loud, but then quiet himself as to not startle the deer. I, too, had to stifle a laugh as we watched her edge closer and closer. Creep, creep, creep. What does she think she's doing? I said, amazed that a cat would even think of trying to snag prey that size. Dad shrugged and chuckled. Some of my cats are mighty hunters, bringing me presents of moles, mice, and even full-grown squirrels and rabbits, but this took the cake. I took a few pictures, sorry that Dad hadn't mentioned that I needed a zoom lens to get really good photos. Suddenly, the fawn prey turned its head and looked at Tuxedo, who had laid herself nearly flat on the ground, body still as a stone, tail swishing furiously side to side, flush with the ground. Dad and I could barely keep ourselves from falling over with laughter. The fawn apparently either didn't see her or didn't care and went back to its meal. Tuxedo, still crouched flat, once again began working her way excruciatingly slow toward the animal. Moving against the 50-foot log took her several minutes, and Dad and I sat down on the hill to watch the free entertainment. We knew no good would come of this, no matter what happened, but we knew it'd be funny. Finally, the cat reached the end of the log and sat stock still for a few minutes, then peered around the log. She didn't see the doe, which was standing about 30 feet away on the other side of it. The fawn caught Tuxedo's movement and again turned its head toward her, then turned completely toward her. The doe looked up to watch her baby. Dad and I leaned forward, eager to see how this played out. The fawn, which was still a good 40 feet away, took a few steps toward the cat, innocently curious about the small black and white creature. Tuxedo hunched as low as she could, watching the fawn watch her. She moved slowly from behind the log, which drew the attention of the doe. The doe walked cautiously over several feet in order to get a better look at the cat. Tuxedo saw the doe and froze completely. The doe stamped her hoof on the ground, which is something that deer will do in order to get an animal to move so they can identify it. Tuxedo remained fixed in her position, so the doe crept a bit closer again and stamped her hoof. By this time, the fawn was within 20 feet of the cat, and the doe began walking directly toward her offspring. At this point, realizing just how huge these deer were, the cat stood straight up, fur standing straight up, tail standing straight up, and let out a combination scream hiss and headed for the next door neighbor's wooded hill. The fawn jumped back startled. Dad and I were in tears from laughing so hard, which startled the doe, causing her and her young to gallop off across the creek into the woods. Tuxedo, the mighty hunter indeed. Well, that's all there is for this first Cat Lovers podcast. I'm going to end this out with a song by Marc Gunn and the Dubliners Tabby Cats. I am Marc Gunn, and the Dubliners Tabby Cats are my band, which is putting out a CD called Irish Drinking Songs for Cat Lovers. I hope you enjoy it. This song's called Wild Kitty.
Well, I've been a wild kitty for many is the year, and I found a nice pub that served me mixed with beer. Well, this makes me quite happy, so I'll purr with galore, for I never will be a wild kitty no more, and it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I be a wild kitty, no, never, no more. Well, it began at an alehouse while hunting for fish. The back door was left open, some food they'd not miss. Well, the landlord, he caught me and took me out back, and he said, if you're good, I'll bring milk for to lap. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more deliciously. And I lapped the milk down and passed out on his knee. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I be a wild kitty. No, never, no more. I stumble the lower. I don't land on my feet, but I'm wild no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I be a wild kitty. No, never, no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I be a wild kitty. No, never.
So, Wild Kitty is, of course, a parody of the traditional Irish song Wild Rover. It features me on auto harp and lead vocals. James Cedric Hazelrig played fiddle on it. Ari Koinuma played bass and maracas. I sang background vocals along with Ben Hamby, Blake McCaig, and Ari Koinuma. And the meows were provided by me, April Porter, Ben Hamby, and Blake McCaig. Thank you all so much for all your support of this. And thank you for listening to Pup Songs and Stories. This episode was edited by Mitchell Peterson, and you can follow and listen to the show on my Patreon or wherever you find podcasts. Sign up to my mailing list to learn more about songs featured in this podcast and discover where I'm performing. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, and think about how you can make a positive impact on your environment. Have fun and sing along at pubsong.com.